financial success is not all about financial products or financial knowledge or financial strategies. Financial success is about you, who you are, why you want success, and the way you think, what you want from your life, how you want to live your life, your dreams, aspirations, and what makes you unique. It is about understanding your fears and concerns, and then firmly but gently guiding you to a life of dignity, confidence, certainty, and control through the right thinking, planning, and execution. When it comes to designing a life you want, you need someone that understands what it takes, the mindset, the behaviors, the strategies, and the tools. Because when it comes to having a lifetime of wealth, you don't get too many chances to get it right. The values with which I live my life are the exact values that I will use to take you to your financial destination and to guide you. The drive and motivation to succeed, the courage to take action, the responsibility of taking care of loved ones, and the commitment to stay the course. Why settle for less if more is possible? I'm Ron Malhotra, and if you're committed, I'm here to take you towards your financial destination. Good morning, everybody. This is Ron Malhotra. Welcome to another episode of The Achievement Strategist, the show where we highlight the accomplishments of everyday people doing great things, the show where we celebrate people who display competence and character, the show that is not just about entertainment, but edutainment, and the show where we talk about the stories of people that are not just achieving, but making a difference at the same time. We use this show to highlight those who have the courage to pursue a bigger vision than themselves. And today we have Denne Lalouette. Is that the right pronunciation, Denne?
Lalouette.
Lalouette. Sorry, Denne. Welcome to the show. How are you this morning?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
So, Denne, you and I met some time ago. You attended one of my seminars, and I had actually heard a lot about you prior to that. I knew that you were inspiring young men and women, become really passionate about fitness, and you had a really unique concept in the world of fitness where you were doing some great things. And when I met you at the seminar, I thought, well, you know what, I'd like to get you on my show because anytime I meet somebody who's doing some fantastic things with their life and making a difference to other people, I find that highly inspirational, and I just think that it's worthwhile having people like that. And what we'll do today is we're just going to talk to you a little bit about what your story is, who you are, why you do what you do, and what sort of difference you're making.
Yeah, no problem.
Now, Denne, so tell me a little about yourself. You're pretty young. How old are you?
26.
26, okay. And you started a new concept in fitness, which was relatively not known in Australia anyway, well, especially in Melbourne. I don't think not a lot of people I've spoken to didn't know about this concept.
In regards to playtime?
Yep.
As far as I know, no one else does it. Of course, I didn't invent playtime. It's something that we've done, but I think the concept and the philosophy that we've created as a team is quite unique, and its foundation is teaching adults how to move like they did when they were kids, and without the fitness stigma. It goes against, as a business person, it kind of goes against what we're trying to do in bringing people into our gym to train to get fitness. What Playtime promotes is you don't need to train to be fit. You need to play. And if you compare that to the average 5-year-old, 6-year-old, even 10-year-old, the average young child has better relative strength, more cardiovascular fitness, they're more flexible, they have more courage, they have less fear. And I think that over time we've definitely lost that and lost the ability to go back to just playing rather than always doing things for a specific purpose.
That's really interesting. Tell me how did this idea come about? I mean, what was the inspiration behind it?
It was a long journey. I guess we opened originally as a pretty straight down the line mixed martial arts facility. My background was in personal training, and I ran a certain type of strength and conditioning. And then once I got into all of the martial arts, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, judo, Muay Thai, all of that sort of stuff, and combining it with the new things that I learnt, I started to realize that I guess I didn't really enjoy one particular thing. I enjoyed doing all of it. And I enjoyed the fact that my body was physically capable of doing whatever I felt like doing. If I wanted to do handstands one day, I could. If I wanted to swing on a monkey bar, I was physically capable of doing it. And it came down to the fact that I wasn't a specialist at one thing. So I wasn't just a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy. I wasn't just a CrossFitter. I just played across different sports for many, many years. And then I started to look at my nieces and my nephews and observing kids of that age who were about between 3 and 7 years old, and just realize how much better they are at moving than what we are.
Yeah, that is certainly true. I think I admit, as I'm getting older, life becomes so structured, and even when you do play sport or you go to the gym, it's just not as spontaneous as it used to be, and so it kind of takes the fun out of fitness. So am I correct in assuming then that your concept is based around bringing the basics back to fitness and bringing fun back to fitness? Is that what it's about, or is there more?
Yes and no. I guess the two main parts of it come from the fact that, like you said, spontaneity is the important thing. And I'm talking extreme spontaneity. If you walk down the street, do cartwheels. If you decide to go out for lunch, instead of sitting at a bench, sit in a tree. It's randomizing your movement on a daily basis. And that's the foundation of it. But of course, we understand that we aren't children. We have experienced a lot of emotional setbacks. We've experienced a lot of physical setbacks over the 5, 10, 20, 40 years that we've been on the planet. So our bodies aren't physically capable of doing the same things as they were when we were 6 or 7. So what we do is then we do strip people down and teach them how to move again like that. We educate them on what they do with their bodies, how to make sure that they're capable of moving free of pain. Because you might have jumped a rope or skipped when you're in primary school, but the amount of people that can no longer coordinate that movement in their 30s and 40s is astonishing. So we have to definitely reteach and relearn a lot of those movement patterns so that when people do try to implement play into their lives, it's not dangerous.
There's the physical aspect of it, but there's also the mental aspect of it. And by that, what I mean is, so I watched some of the videos that you guys put on social media, and I've seen what some of your guys and your trainers are doing. They could be out in the public, they could be, in a bank, or they could be in a shop or in the shopping center, and they're doing all these weird things that, there's also, and I guess it's fantastic to see that people are not hung up on themselves and they're not really conscious about what they're doing, and they're really just focusing on fitness and fun.
Yeah.
But how do you take somebody like me, for example, who has now become quite rigid in my ways? I love fitness, but there's a structure around it. And if you got me to do a bear walk or, crawl or something like that in public, I just couldn't do it.
You'd freak out? I
would, because put aside the physical aspect, I would think, oh my God, I'm embarrassing myself. I'd be too self-conscious. I know it's not a good thing, but, and I think there'd be a lot of people like me who'd be going, well, I like the concept in theory.
I couldn't do it myself.
I'm happy to do it privately, but am I prepared to do this publicly? So
what you see on the social media of the guys and girls out in public is what we call movement missions. And the whole idea of that is to, I guess, eradicate the tall poppy syndrome, which is what you're talking about. People that say, I like it, I wish I could do it, but in public, I'm afraid that people are going to laugh at me, I'm going to embarrass myself, I'm going to do it wrong. It's that fear of failure. So I guess the reason why it's okay for us to walk down the street with our tops off is because there's a lot of people walking down the street with their tops off. So a movement mission is like, I'm talking in summer, of course, but a movement mission is designed to say, well, if we've got a team of 19 staff, trainers, all over. If I had 19 people walking around bear crawling every time they went upstairs, it would start to seem like a little bit more normal for someone like you. If you had 19 other people doing it, you would feel weird not doing it. You would feel weird if you were walking in a group down the street and we all bear crawled and you were standing upright. You would be the tall poppy, you would be the one that stands out by actually not being in a bear crawl. So the movement missions are for us to actually enable other people to feel okay doing different things.
And I have to say, I mean, you must be you must be a good leader, because if you're getting all of these people to do these things that they wouldn't ordinarily do, I mean, it's just not a normal part of our natural makeup, because now we don't do these things anymore. We haven't been conditioned to do these sorts of things. It's amazing how you inspire people. How do you get people to believe this concept? How do you get people to embrace this concept of going back to their childhood and being a bit more spontaneous with fitness? I mean, this is new. As you can admit, most gyms have a structure. They have a personal trainer. They have routines. So how do you then take people, your trainers and your clients, and get them to try these new things? I mean, is there a philosophy behind it that you train your guys? I mean, is there a lot of motivational talks that happen at your gym where because you've literally changed the culture in a way, haven't you? I mean,
yeah, that's definitely the goal. I think it's definitely come down to the team that we've built. So yeah, I definitely am the leader. I started it. I came up with the idea. But it wouldn't have been possible for me to continue to where I am today if I didn't have a crazy group of people that wanted to follow.
The crazy, you mean people that are happy to go against the status quo and challenge conventions.
Crazy is a good thing.
Yeah. And look, I've met some of your people, and I have to say they're highly motivated. There's a lot of talk about young people these days not being motivated, but I have to say I don't believe that, because I see some of the people that work for you and work with you, and they inspire me. I have to say it's pretty amazing. I wish I was that inspired when I was in my early 20s or. So it's really good to see. And I certainly think motivation is intrinsic, but I also I think that you have a lot to do with this as well. You must have inspired these people.
I think the biggest thing is immersion, especially for the trainers that we have on board, the people that we have in our team. To work in our playground, which is what we call them. One, we've changed the language that we use on a daily basis. So we don't call it a gym. We don't call it a training facility. We call it a playground. So when you rock up, the words that you automatically use on a daily basis are associated with play rather than with fitness or with training or with strength. Now, don't get me wrong. We do Muay Thai. We do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and we do CrossFit. But our foundation is play. We put on a song. Not a song. We'll have our staff meetings start with playtime, and it might be rugby on our knees. It might be we'll have our meetings in trees. We'll go down to Main Street Berwick and we'll hit balloons around the park, and that's how we start our meetings. So then we'll rock up. It'll be 9 o'clock at night, and we'll be cleaning up, and someone will turn on the Pirates of the Caribbean music, and next thing you know, it's 11 p.m. and we're still sword fighting. And you're talking 18-year-olds through to 50-year-olds. So I think immersion is the biggest thing, is once you spend enough time around the right people, you become them, or you become a lot like them. I think it was Jim Rohn says, you are the 5 people you spend the most time with. So for these guys and girls, they spend the most time in our group, in that environment. So play is no longer something that they question.
I love it, Denne. What we'll do is we'll take a few minutes break and we'll come back. And I want to just understand a little bit about you, the man behind this whole concept. Personally, you know, what drives you, why you came up with this vision. But thank you so much. I think it's a fantastic concept. And the more I think about it, the more I think, wow, this is just amazing. So good on you. We'll come back. We'll come back on break.
Casey's Radio Equine Show.
His unique concept of fitness called UFT Playgrounds. Thank you, Denne. It's been wonderful understanding a little bit about what you do, but I want to understand the why behind what you do. And we know that UFT Playground is designed to teach people how to play again, and by using as many different styles of training as possible. But I want to understand why. Why did you decide to do this? I mean, great concept, but you could have just used it for yourself. You've taken that concept and you're building a business around this. What's the story behind that?
Well, I guess I've wanted to be in business for as long as I can remember. Business is, I guess, it's in my genes. My mum, my parents. They started a business in telco, or actually in a couple of different things. They've been in business for a long time, and I was probably immersed in that as well. So, and we've got a very open family. So from the time I was probably 10, 11, 12 years old, I was exposed to business and how it works and running it and being entrepreneurial. And I remember telling my mum when I was probably 12 years old, something like that, was that I wanted an empire. And she actually said... An empire? Yeah, an empire. And I have no idea why I wanted to do that. I couldn't tell you what it was in. I'm pretty sure we were watching a movie. But it was my crazy 12-year-old brain that decided that I wanted that. And... yeah, I guess I've just stayed on that ever since.
And you're pretty young, aren't you? In your mid-20s?
26. I turned 27 in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, fantastic. So you actually had the courage to take your dream that you had when you were young and make that a reality for yourself.
Working on it.
So working on it, well, that's a bit modest. I think you're already achieving a bit of success with that. So many people have dreams and visions, right? But they never actually get around to making that a reality. You're one of those people that did.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is the key ingredient required to make your dream a reality? So you had a vision, you wanted to do some big things. What do you think is the key ingredient?
I would say persistence.
Persistence?
Yeah.
What about courage?
Courage, of course, I think courage is important, but you can have courage to do a lot of things.
Yeah. And talk about persistence. When you say persistence, how do you mean?
I mean, you have to not stop. So no matter, I've had some extremely difficult times in business. I've had some extremely difficult personal issues. And I guess I just never lost focus of what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go.
Is that because the vision is very strong?
Either that or I'm very stubborn.
You're very stubborn. Yeah. But what's so is it, when you say you're an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what a lot of people would say that the biggest driving factor for entrepreneurs is money. Or is it something else?
Don't get me wrong, I would love to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I think, as you know better than anyone, money is a controlling factor in modern society. So I've always known that I need to make money in order to do great things. But I think that's my driving force, is I want to do great things.
You want to do great things? Because the reality is there's many ways to make money. You could have gone into anything.
Yeah.
You could have bought a franchise, you know.
My parents were in Telstra shops, and I was very good at that.
But you decided to pursue your own vision. Well, for starters, you had a vision.
Yeah.
And then you had the persistence, as you said, to go after what you wanted. And the few times that we've had a conversation, you outside of this radio show, you've mentioned wanting to make a difference. I mean, what does that mean? A lot of people, you know, as would get a bit skeptical and say, "What's the, you know, making a difference?" Yeah, right. You know, everyone, here's another person that wants to change the world.
Yeah.
Why is it so important for you to make a difference? And what kind of difference are you hoping to make?
I don't know. I don't know. I just get... I just have this feeling that I'm supposed to do more.
Yep.
And that's pretty much, I've thought about it a lot.
Yep.
But every time I think about going back, and I've got the skill set, I've got the experience, I could go and get a job anywhere, I could make a 6-figure income quite easily. But every time I think about it, it depresses me.
Right. So obviously success, you define success in more than just monetary terms or stability in employment. There is more. Have you ever worked out what your definition of success is? I mean, how would you know you've achieved success? Or do you consider yourself successful now?
I do consider myself successful now.
Good. But what would be the epitome,
I think
guess?
success is defined by the individual.
Right.
So if let's say you just want to be a dad, and your dream is you just want to be a good dad. There you go. You're successful.
Yep.
I do want that, but I also want great things. One of my big dreams is to have a playground in every state, if not every city on the planet. So am I successful now? Yes, because I've achieved pretty awesome things for someone my age. But what
would be the epitome for you? I mean, well, what would be the epitome of success? When would you know that you have made it? Is there ever a point where you think, yep, I've made it, I've affected that many people, I've impacted lives, I've made a difference, I've made money for myself? Or do you think it's just a journey, it's a journey that you keep growing and keep stretching?
I've had that feeling several times. So I think it's a journey. As soon as you experience that feeling, as soon as you turn around and you say, I've impacted people's lives positively, if I was to die tomorrow, I'd be happy. So I've had that thought multiple times. And I think as soon as you experience it, you just set the goal higher.
Now, these are your words. I don't just want to survive. I don't want the Australian dream. I want to be remembered. I want to help other people be successful. I believe in dreams. Tell me more about this. It's coming from a pretty deep place.
Yeah.
Right? It's almost like, I read something, I think it was John Maxwell that said, once you achieve significance, success will not satisfy you. So success can, as you said, success is quite a subjective thing. I mean, some people might say, well, I'm a good dad, I'm successful. Some people might say, I've got $1 million in the bank, I'm successful. Some people might say, well, I'm, growing businesses, I'm making a difference to people's lives, I'm successful. You're right, it's subjective. It's your definition of success. But I feel that there is a need to do more than that. There is, and remember, one of the reasons I've got you on the show is because you have a vision that goes outside, beyond you, outside of yourself. You're wanting to impact the lives of others.
Yeah.
I was just interested in understanding. I mean, this is pretty deep stuff. A lot of people don't think like that anymore. They just want to have enough food on the table, enough money coming in so they can pay all their bills, live day to day. So this is coming from a pretty deep place.
Yeah.
So
why do I think like that?
Yeah. Why do you think like that? What have you ever worked that out? Is it just a part of your makeup?
I think partly, yes. I think a couple of things that make someone successful or make someone, I guess, have the determination and drive comes from not only internal, but the people that they spend most of their time with. And I guess my mum would be probably the biggest driving force in that.
In what way? Tell me more about that.
Well...
Is she one of your mentors?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
She's a successful businesswoman, and I guess she just strives for the next level in everything that she does.
Yeah, continuous improvement.
Yeah.
And so that's what she instilled in you when you were growing up? Or?
That's what she instilled. That's what she expected.
Fantastic.
I probably hated her at the time for it growing up, but that's made me that's created a big chunk of who I am right now.
Good on you, Mum. Well done. That's fantastic. I just want to understand. You said you consider yourself to be successful. Have you got a routine? Like, what do you think it takes to become successful? Do you get up in the morning and you go? Are you a very positive person? I mean, if I said to you, "Hey, tell me how to become successful," give me the top 3 tips of what you consider success to be. What advice would you give me?
Play.
Play.
Yeah, as without blowing my own horn, but I think that's one of the biggest ones.
So be free.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to play and when I say play, I'm not just talking about movement. I'm talking about in every aspect of your life.
Mentally.
Yes, mentally, physically, emotionally. Play rather than I think one of the biggest problems is people think that there's a specific set of rules that they have to follow, or a specific routine every day that they have to do, and that does work for some people. But what I find is when I get into a specific set routine, I stress. But when I start playing, maybe I could be a little bit more productive than what I am at times, but I get things done and I stay relaxed.
And you know what? It's interesting you say that, because a lot of research has been done on the fact that when you're in a state of joy and happiness, your learning centers actually light up.
Yeah.
When you're stressed out, on the contrary, a lot of people love talking about how stressed out they are, how busy they are, but it's actually not conducive to being productive. It's almost like your learning centers start to shut down when you're going through stress. But what would you say to the average, 40-year-old person that's got kids and a mortgage, and probably says, oh yeah, it's easy for you to say you're in your mid-20s, you can play, you haven't got any stresses, because you haven't got kids at the moment, haven't you?
No.
Haven't got a mortgage?
I've had.
Yep, had a mortgage.
But I sold my house in order to create a business.
Do you think it's possible for someone to make playing one of the biggest values, and despite everything that's going on around them, the struggles of everyday life? I mean, is it possible to just be that spontaneous and just have a great time?
100%.
It is.
I'm not saying let play take over everything and don't focus on anything.
Yeah.
I'm saying don't focus on something so much that it stresses you out.
Yeah.
And give yourself an opportunity, because of course without focus you don't progress. So that would probably be my second one. Play, but focus. So once you've identified something, it goes back to having a look at children. Kids play. You send them out in the backyard, they'll run around in circles, they'll do flips, they'll pick up flowers, they'll go up and down the slides, and then all of a sudden they'll find a truck. And they will obsess over that truck for hours. And then they get over it.
Yeah.
And then they go and play again until they become obsessed with daisy chains. And then they'll get over that, and then they'll figure out that they can do a cartwheel. And of course I'm going back to the physical aspect, but it's no different, is play with your work. Try different things, do different things, play with your mornings, do different things in the mornings, and eventually you will find what gets you up happy. You will eventually find what wakes you up with excitement in the morning, because I think that's probably one of the biggest things that goes around is people hate mornings. I'm very much a morning person. I can get up off 3 hours sleep, and I can work for 18 hours, and at the end of the day, not have a problem. Because
you're inspired.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're following your vision.
And because I enjoy my days.
You're enjoying your days, yeah.
If I was to just... I know that when I sit down and I stress about money, because of course I run a business, I run multiple businesses now, is that if I was to sit down and just look at my books every day, then I wouldn't be super happy.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, I don't have a mortgage, I don't have a house, I don't drive a car. We have a car, me and my girlfriend, but we don't have the money yet to be able to progress onto that level. So if I was to sit down and look at the money side of things today, then I wouldn't be happy. But I know that the journey that I'm on and the journey that I'm taking enables me to just keep moving forward, keep enjoying myself, and I'll get there.
It's such a different way to look at things. I really like that, because, you are, as I'm sitting here listening to you, you are pushing me to look at things from a different perspective, because we get so stuck in the way we live. It's a routine, and you're right. Sometimes there's not enough spontaneity in our life, especially as we get older, and I think that's really important. So good on you for incorporating that into your business and into your fitness model that you've come up with. We'll take a break and we'll come back in a few minutes.
Cheers.
Community media matters. Audiences.
Your story and, tell me, have you had any challenges? I mean, it's pretty rough out there, right?
Yeah.
People try and get you down. People try and put you down. They tell you why it can't be done. I remember when I was writing my first book, someone very close to me said to me, "What? You're a big shot now," and I stopped writing my book for 3 weeks. I'm so glad that I went back onto it and finished my book. But do you face any challenges? I mean, here you are trying to do something different. People don't like different, right?
Yeah.
Because you're going against the grind.
Yeah.
Right. Tell me, can you think of any major challenges you've faced, and how do you overcome those challenges?
Yeah, definitely. Probably the biggest challenge that I've had business-wise was a couple of years ago. When we first opened, we opened as Ultimate Fighter Training, and we were a mixed martial arts training facility, and I hired a couple of highly qualified martial artists to run everything, because I wasn't. So they became my coaches, they became my staff, and we built the business, I guess, together. And after about 2 years, they up and left with next to no warning. Well, no warning, actually. They walked in a day apart, pretty much, and said, "We're done, not coming back." And I asked, what is it that you're going to be doing? I didn't have a problem with it. Don't expect people to stay with me forever. But they said, I'm probably not going to, I'm not sure what I want to do. And I said, no worries, thanks. I thought I'll just go find some more coaches and continue on my way. And within 3 days, I think it was announced that they were opening practically the same gym with a different name, pretty much identical timetable, 250 meters away. So I lost about 60 to 70% of my clients. Obviously, because we were predominantly martial arts, if they could continue training with their coaches and they could run the same timetable, why would they train under me? So I was lucky that I still ran personal training sessions and I still had my core group of fitness. And even the people that were doing martial arts that thought it was wrong and stayed anyway, just based on moral ground, I guess.
So that's a huge setback. I mean, that kind of setback, most people wouldn't get up after that. And
I nearly didn't.
And it would create a lot of self-doubt. You go, oh my God, is this even worth it? But you didn't let that destroy you.
I probably, aside from my classes, I didn't talk for about 2 weeks.
Right.
I guess because I'd literally put absolutely everything that I had into it. Like I said, I sold my house. Outside of UFT, I had nothing. So when that happens, it was a pretty big emotional setback for me. And not so much because I lost staff and I lost clients, but I also lost my coaches and my mentors. So that was a pretty big chunk out of my life. But I guess like I said, persistence.
Yep. So you look back now, was that a good thing?
Fantastic.
See, isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
We have these setbacks, and we can use these setbacks as a catalyst to improve and do something even bigger. And most people who've had a severe setback in life, who've then gone on to achieve greater things, have looked back and said that setback was one of the best things that ever happened to them. It's amazing, isn't it?
I agree 100% because I would have continued along that same path of just being a mixed martial arts gym. We would have stayed as Ultimate Fighter Training or Ultimate Fitness Training. And because I didn't have a choice but to come up with a new idea, that's actually where Playtime and UFT Playground stemmed from.
Yeah. Isn't that fantastic? You did something with that. You did that. You took that setback and you created that into an opportunity. Motivational speaker Jack Canfield says, it's not the event that determines the outcome. It is your response to the event. Because we can't control the event. These things are going to happen. Things go wrong all the time. In fact, I'm a big believer
that you need to fail a lot to become successful.
Yeah.
A lot of people try and avoid failure. And when they avoid failure, guess what? They avoid success.
Well, I think that, and I have this discussion with my team, and I've had it with some specific individuals quite a bit lately, is I think the fear of failure is very much misplaced, because people are afraid to do something because they think they'll do it wrong. Yet by not doing it, they're already failing. So they're actually embracing the fear that they have by not doing it.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
You got to take some shots.
Exactly.
So good on you. So you've changed that. Now, is there a success mantra that you live by? Is there a philosophy that you live by, or you teach your guys? Just one thing that is at the core of who you are and what you do. Tell me what it is.
I think there is a few. I do love to read Jack Canfield and Brad Sugars, Robert Kiyosaki, Jim Rohn, Napoleon Hill. I love to read all of those sorts of things. But my favorite is Richard Branson. So I would say screw it, just do it, would be my number one mantra. I don't like to think too much.
You must think a little bit.
I think a lot.
But you don't.
I'm definitely an overthinker.
Yep.
And I like to know details.
Yep.
But I don't like to know them before I start.
You don't get stuck in the thinking mode. You think and then you take action.
I come up with an idea, I do it, and then I figure out.
Yeah. It's like I heard this analogy about a rocket. So when they launch a rocket into space, they have no way of knowing that the rocket's going to get into space.
Yeah.
It's actually off course 99% of the time. And it's only through a series of continuous course corrections that the rocket gets into space. And I think entrepreneurship is very much like that.
Yeah.
And there's a whole, this whole, you know, people think entrepreneurship is this fancy word, but really the way I see entrepreneurship, it's just an extension of you and your beliefs and your vision.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You had a vision, you took it out there, and now you're finding a way to impact the lives of others, isn't it?
Definitely.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you. Is there any last words? I mean, I'd like you to just talk about your website, talk about your business, you know, where are you located? You know, if people are interested in finding out more about UFT Playgrounds, what do they need to do?
Yeah, definitely. Well, of course, like I said, we are in the fitness industry, so as much as we do promote play, we are called Playgrounds. We have playtime specific classes, which are pretty cool. We also do teach, I wouldn't say traditional, but I would say fitness-based classes. So we still do have personal trainers. We still do have CrossFit classes, an ultimate boot camp class. We have Muay Thai, wrestling. Excuse me. We still do all of that. And we've got one in Berwick, which is our original. That's where we started, which is in down Enterprise Avenue. And then we've just opened a CrossFit-only playground or CrossFit and personal training in Narre Warren, so just down off Vesper Drive.
Yep.
So that, I guess, if people do want to come down and have a look at what we do and figure out or see the difference between traditional gym styles and our philosophy, and it might not, you might jump into a class and think that it's very different in the way that we train, of course, but it's more the environment, it's more the playful fun.
It is so different, because I've been there.
Yeah.
I spent some time there. It was fantastic.
It's just different.
Do you know what, another thing that I like about you? You mentioned Richard Branson.
Yeah.
You know, one of Richard Branson's famous sayings is, first look after your staff, then look after your customers, and then look after your shareholders.
100%.
And it appears to me that you're doing something similar.
Yes.
Your staff are really inspired.
Yeah.
They are with you in pursuing that vision, aren't
Yep.
they? You guys are a cohesive team.
Definitely.
Well done, Denne. Thank you so much. What's your website?
uftplaygrounds.com.au.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your story. And I really hope that the audience has got value out of this story, and just knowing that, you know, there are people out there, and you're only in your mid-20s and you're doing all of these fantastic things.
Yeah.
I think anyone can do anything that they want. As human beings, we always have a choice. I firmly believe unless you have someone holding a gun to your head or you've got a critical illness, you always have a choice. So fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your story and having the courage to pursue your vision.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. As we conclude the show, I just want to remind the viewers that, the audience, that I am running a free seminar on achieving financial freedom. So the seminar is being held on the 25th of October at 3 p.m. at the Central Hotel, 1 Old Princess Highway in Beaconsfield. At the seminar, we're going to talk about the 7 steps to achieving financial freedom, why you don't need a lot of money to make money, how you can make efficient use of your cash flow, how property, shares, and superannuation all work together to help you secure your financial future, and the most common mistakes that